People say that quitters never win and winners never quit, but that's stupid, right? Like if you're 5'3", then you're probably not going to make it in the NBA. If you didn't grow up surfing, then you're probably not going to become a professional surfer. There are real-world limitations and some goals you can't achieve, and when you figure that out, you have to drop them. So you have to quit sometimes, but at the same time, if you quit all the time, then you're never going to get anywhere and you're never going to accomplish anything. If you listen to the story of basically any successful person ever, there will be thousands of moments where they doubted themselves and they wanted to quit, they felt like quitting, but they decided, you know what, I'm just going to push through it, and eventually they reached the mountaintop. So how do you know when to quit? Well, that's what Seth Godin's book, The Dip, is about. Imagine if you have brain cancer and you need to go to a brain surgeon, and you have a choice between going to the 10th best brain surgeon in the world or the #1 best brain surgeon in the world. Who are you going to pick? You'd probably pick the best brain surgeon in the world, and so would everybody else, which is why the best brain surgeon in the world is probably going to make way, way, way more money than the 10th best brain surgeon. And that's true of basically everything. The benefit of being #1 is way bigger than the benefit of being #5 or #10 or #20. Of course, the problem is that becoming the best in the world is like kind of hard, right? Like you have to go through years of trial and suffering and difficulty just to have a chance of getting there. In other words, to become best in the world, you have to go through the dip. When you start something for the first time, you get really excited and it's really fun and you're like, man, this is awesome. And you learn so fast and you see all these results right away. And then eventually you make it to this period called the dip where it's not so much fun. The dip is the period after the novelty of starting something wears off, but before you're really, really good at it. And this is the least fun period of doing anything. So for example, if you're learning a language, the dip is right after the novelty of, oh, this is so exciting, I'm speaking in another language wears off, but you still can't really talk to native speakers that well. Or if you're starting a YouTube channel, the dip is right after you publish your first few videos and you're not getting any views and you're wondering like, why the hell am I doing this? The dip is where most people quit because it's not fun and it's easier to just quit and go back to what you were doing before. And the secret to life is to not quit during the dip. The people who make it to the top of the mountain and get all the glory and the fame and the money, those are the ones who made it through the dip. The big problem is, how do you know if you're in a dip, right? Like, how do you know that there's light at the end of the tunnel? You might also be in what Seth Godin calls a cul-de-sac, which is where you feel like you're in a dip and you're not getting the rewards and you're not having any fun, but there's nothing at the other end, right? Like, if you keep working harder, you're not going to get anywhere. Or alternatively, you could be in a dip where the mountaintop isn't really that worth getting to, right? So Seth Godin talks about the author Michael Crichton, who went to medical school and he was on track to become this great doctor, and he was like, you know, I don't really want to be a doctor. Being a doctor doesn't sound like that much fun, so I'm going to be a science fiction novelist instead. So you have to figure out what things are worth sticking with and what things you should just quit so you can focus more of your energy on the things that are worth sticking. Basically, you have to pick a few dips to stick with and then quit the rest. That's really hard for most people for two reasons. The first is that the dip is no fun, and when you're in the dip, you just want to quit, right? Like when you're working really, really hard and you're not seeing any results, then every bone in your body is going to tell you, just give up. And then on the flip side, paradoxically, it can be really hard to quit when you're either in a dip or in a cul-de-sac because you're in the habit of doing something and you don't want to stop, right? So like, for example, if you're learning Spanish and you're trying, but you're not getting anywhere, you might be like, oh, this is too much, I got so much other stuff going on in my life, I'm just going to quit this. And then on the flip side, if you want to start a business but you have this dead-end job and you go to work every day and you never get anywhere, they're not going to promote you, you might be like, well, I'm scared to leave my job, I'm scared to go and do my own thing, so I'm just going to stay here. After I read this book, I took inventory of every single thing that I was doing in my life and decided whether I wanted to stick with it and put more effort into it, or whether I just wanted to stop doing it completely. And it was a really helpful exercise, it gave me a lot of clarity, and I highly recommend you do it too. So anyways, that's it for today's Theo's Book Club. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're new around here, my name's Theo. I make brief videos like this one about the books that I read so that you can learn what I learn and so you can decide, do I want to read these books for myself? If you like this video, I hope you'll do me a big favor, hit the like button right down there. That tells YouTube, hey, this is a good video, people are liking it, so we should show it to more people. You can also leave a comment if you were inspired by something or if there's something that you want to quit or that you want to stick with now. And you can also, if you want to see more of my book review videos popping up in your feed, you can hit the subscribe button. And until next time, stick with it unless it's not worth it, and have a great day.